Good morning guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is all about whether you should start a service or a product-based business. Now I know a lot of you watching this are probably interested in entrepreneurship. Maybe you already are a freelancer or you're running your own thing or you're looking at starting something of your own. So this video is in partnership with a really good friend of mine called Kia, and she runs a vegan nail polish company based in Germany. She has this amazing channel all about startup life. She's very real talk, so you will like that if you like my videos. She does lots of behind the scenes of what it's like to run a startup, and so her video is going to be all about the pros and cons of a physical business. So she sells nail polish, which is obviously a physical thing, goes into physical shops, and they do sell on the website as well, but it's a very physical business. And as you guys will know, most of what I do is more service-based, online, passive income, electronic products, all that kind of thing. So we thought it would be an interesting idea to give both sides on each of our channels. So when you're done watching this, go over and watch her version of this video, and of course be sure to subscribe to her. So a few examples of service-based businesses that I have done are I worked as a freelance journalist, a freelance PR, I've sold online courses, I've done affiliate marketing, I obviously make these YouTube videos, which I make a small amount each month from. I've done some sponsored videos. All of those are examples of service-based things that I've done which don't require any physical product. And then just before I start, I wanted to mention one other thing which is kind of middle of the road jobs. So for example, something like selling on Amazon FBA, I would say is a mixture of the two, because there is obviously a physical product which is going to real people's homes, which they are using in their daily life. So there is a physical component, but you can do it without ever touching the product. You can do it entirely online. Maybe you'll get a sample at the start, but apart from that, you may never actually even see your product depending on what you're selling. So Amazon and dropshipping to me are kind of in the middle. So I'm going to try and talk about entirely service-based things like freelancing or online courses. First of all, I have 4 pros of doing a service-based business instead of a product-based business, and then afterwards I will do 4 cons. So number 1 is a very big one for me, and that is that you can do it anywhere in the world, any age, any country, any time of day. As you guys will know, I travel full time. I could be in any country on any given day, and to me that is totally incredible. If you have a product-based business, you might be able to do this. Like I said with Amazon, you know, like Kia does travel, but ultimately you need to be meeting with suppliers and experimenting with your product and launching new lines, and it is much more physically based. So if you're doing an entirely service-based business, you can be anywhere, and that to me is the number 1 pro. Similarly, you can also sell to anyone in the world because you're not needing to send them a product, so you don't need to worry about customs or shipping costs. You simply have to send them an email. So when someone buys one of my Udemy courses, they can be in any country in the world. They just click buy and then they can watch it from wherever they are. Or if you are a freelance marketing specialist, your customers could be anywhere. And I find that really, really cool. So you can be anywhere and they can be anywhere. Number 2, you also avoid a lot of the costs. So for example, you don't need packaging, you don't need distribution. Like I said, you don't need an import-export tax expert. It's all so much simpler because it's just the electronic product, which might be a product like a course or an ebook, or it might be your time, like a freelancer. So you save a lot of costs on things like that, which often means it can be cheaper. So for example, an ebook or a Kindle book is generally cheaper than buying a physical book because they haven't had to print it, buy the paper, send it to a shop, do all the packaging. There's so many costs that are saved. Maybe you pay a little bit of money to PayPal for doing the transaction, but all the transactions are so much simpler and there's a lot less people involved in the chain, so normally it's cheaper. You're saving a lot of costs on things like that. Number 3, I feel like there's a lot less to go wrong. You can't have a truck break down in ice in Norway. You can't have a product arrive broken or damaged from the rain. It won't be not the size that the customer wanted because they weren't able to try it on because they ordered it on the website. They don't go out of date. The ingredients aren't going to be suddenly outlawed because it turns out they're toxic. Everything is just so much simpler. If you sell someone your time or an electronic product, they know what they're going to expect, and if they need a refund, it's much less painful for you because you got all of the money. You don't have to pay all the people in the chain like I mentioned before. You haven't had to pay for the physical product, which is now broken, so you can't resell it. You just say, okay, have a refund for the ebook, that's fine, and it hasn't really cost you very much per unit. So for me, there's a lot less than can go wrong. Of course, if you're freelancing, your client might be unhappy. There might have been a misunderstanding with what you expected and what they expected. There's still going to be things that can go wrong, but to me, it just feels like a much smaller list of possible disasters. And number 4, kind of related to, like I said, products going out of date, is that you can adapt really, really fast. So, for example, maybe you are a freelancer in web design and suddenly one of your customers says, could you actually make me a video? And you're like, well, I've never done that before, but like, sure, I can give it a try. And before you know it, you've launched a video production company. And then they refer you to a bunch of other companies that they know. And then your previous web development job is now overrun by video production, and you had no idea that was even going to happen. So it's much easier for you to say like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll give that a try. And then if it takes off, in the space of a few seconds, you can change your website from saying I am a web developer to I am a video producer. And it's just as quick as that. You've changed your whole brand. If you want to change your logo, you just re-upload a new logo and put it as your Facebook profile. So everything is really, really quick. You can launch new products, new aspects to your business, but you can also do rebrands, you can change the pricing. Everything is kind of just at the click of a button. Whereas if you're selling a physical product and you want to change the logo, you've got all the old products that have got the logo printed on it, so you have to wait till those have sold through. You have to have new ones printed on and then sent to your distribution center. If you want to launch a new color or a new flavor, that's a much, much bigger process. So maybe by this point you're thinking service-based business are amazing. Why would I ever do a product-based business? But here comes my 4 cons of a service-based business. Number 1 means that you are often selling your time. This isn't always the case. For example, with my Udemy courses, they are passive, so I can be teaching multiple students all at the same time. I'm not actually like physically online teaching people. But with most service-based businesses, you're going to be a freelancer and you are selling your time by the hour. So there's a limit to how big it can get because there's only so many hours in a day. And you can put your prices up, but there's going to be a cap on that. Whereas if you're selling a physical product, it could totally take off and everybody could have to have one in their home. So you can grow it a lot bigger. A product-based business is maybe also more likely to be passive. It kind of depends. But if you're launching, for example, Kia's nail varnish brand, right now it is not passive. She's working really hard on it. But in the future, I'm sure her plan is that she will have delegated to enough people. She will have built this whole beast of a company which then runs itself. Maybe she'll sell it, maybe she'll retire. Whereas if you're a freelancer, you can't grow it very big outside of you. People really want to hire you because you're the brand. Linking onto that is number 2, which is that it can be very hard to delegate. So for example, my dad is a business coach and the clients really just want him. He's the expert, he's the coach, he's the face. And he can say, I'm busy that day, but I have someone here who's really great. And they're like, oh no, it's fine, we'll wait till you're free. So it can be very difficult if you are really linked to the brand like that. You know, maybe you're a personal trainer or something and people are going to just want you. So it can be very hard to delegate. Whereas if it's a product-based business, then people just fall in love with the product. They probably don't even know your name. I mean, do you know the names of the founders or the CEOs of some of your favorite brands? Probably not. Then number 3 is simply clients, who can be a bit of a nightmare. Like I said, a lot of service-based businesses are going to be freelancing. So if you're freelancing, you need clients. And I feel like in the early days of freelancing, your main fear is not being able to find enough clients. But after a while, your biggest concern is not finding more clients, it's that your clients are a bit of a nightmare. And even if your clients have the best will in the world, they're going to be emailing you at random times of day, or they're going to have things they don't like or things they want to change, or misunderstandings where you didn't realize they wanted that and you've delivered the wrong thing, or vice versa. So clients just are an ongoing thing and you can't really make them passive. So if you want to take a holiday, maybe they're going to message you because their business is really important to them, of course. Although sometimes physical customers can be just as bad. A customer buys something and then they want to return it, or they don't like it, or maybe they're trying to sue you because it broke. There's a lot of difficulties with real life customers in the real world, but I feel like it's slightly easier than dealing with clients sometimes. And then number 4 is it can be very difficult to exit a service-based business. So if you want to sell your company, for example, like I said earlier, if you're a personal trainer, you have all these clients, you're making a bunch of money, but you want to move on to something else or you want to retire. it's quite difficult for someone to buy that company from you. Even though it's a very profitable business, you have lots of clients, sometimes you can sell it because they'll buy it just for the clients list, but it's much harder than if you're selling a product. So I'm sure Kia, once Kia Charlotta, her nail polish brand, is huge, she will be able to sell it as a big company, and that will be a massive exit for her. And of course, electronic products you might be able to exit if you're not doing freelancing and that kind of service side. If you're doing more, like I said, with Udemy or Amazon or ebooks, possibly that stuff you can exit because it's closer to a physical product. It's just a non-physical version, if you know what I mean, but you are still selling a product rather than your time. So those are more on the like exitable scale. So those are my pros and cons for running a service-based business. Now, I would definitely recommend that you go and watch Kia's video, but I would also like to know in the comments which of those you prefer and maybe which one you're doing right now. I personally think that a blend is the best. In life, it's always just good to diversify in any way that you can. So like I said, right now I've done some freelancing, some electronic products, and now we're starting to move into some more physical products like Amazon. While I'm a nomad, service-based is pretty much my only option, but certainly the most suitable option. But possibly in future, if I'm living in one country, I might start a physical business. I really like the idea of something actually existing, like to have a real book on a real bookshelf, that kind of thing. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and of course go over and subscribe to Kia as well. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!